Welcome into WFRV Plus Sports Night, pleased and graced by his presence. The one, the only, Cameron Zay.
But you got to introduce yourself like that because they see your face too.
I'm Kyle Malzahn. Kyle Malzahn.
I also
UW Green Bay graduate.
Yes.
Kyle Malzahn.
I like that.
Fond du Lac native, Kyle Malzahn. Is that good enough?
Local product, Kyle.
Yeah.
I love the fact that if you look at your screen, because we're both lit in the same way, but I look like I'm in a dark chamber compared to you. Do I have to like drop this light down a little bit?
You're in Hogwarts, man.
I'm going to stay in Hogwarts. Let's talk sports.
All right, let's talk some sports, Cam. Baseball season's upon us. Big day for the Brewers. Obviously, yesterday they report to spring training, but they avoid arbitration with their main man behind the dish, which is William Contreras. They get a 1-year deal done for him because he's in arbitration right now, and it's worth $9 million?
Yeah,
9.4?
So a month ago on January 8th, they avoided arbitration with 5 of their key players, guys like Garrett Wilson and Bryce Terang, and William Contreras wanted $9.9 million. The Brewers wanted $8.4, which is a drastic difference when you talk about a guy that's, had 140 hits in 3 straight years and has been so integral for that team. They agree on a $9.4 million deal. There is a club option for 2027, but that's a $14.5 million contract. And because it's club option, I assume the Brewers won't take that unless William Contreras just goes berserk and has the best season ever by a catcher. Then, of course, they would take that deal. But yeah, $9.4 million, so they pretty much split the difference, kind of leaned it toward William Contreras' way. And yeah, great deal for the Brewers.
Arbitration is so interesting in baseball, and it's very complicated.
Yeah,
so
very.
I want to make sure that I get this right. Arbitration is basically when the end of your service time is coming up with a club or your Major League Baseball first rookie contract. You go into arbitration where you and your representative, if you're the player, have to meet in the middle with the club that you are with. And there's 2 sides, 2 numbers. And if you guys can't agree on a contract because the numbers are so far off, then you go to arbitration where there's no middle ground. One side's going to win. You go inside of a judge, and a lot of if you're a player, you just want to avoid all this, right? Because you're in a pretty much a courtroom hearing the club you play for, right, that thinks you're worth so much less, providing examples why they don't think that you're worth X amount of dollars.
That's so weird.
That is painting a picture and just kind of foreshadowing bad blood that is going to maybe present itself down the line. Arbitration's weird, man. Major League Baseball has some interesting rules. That's certainly one of them. William Contreras, though, I mean, look, when the Brewers made the trade to get him from the Atlanta Braves, he's done everything you could ask for. 3 years with the crew, man. 3 years with the crew coming off, he wasn't an all-star this past year, but 17 homers, right? 260, 355 on base. Solid player, solid guy, and a glue guy in your clubhouse.
What most impressed me about Contreras is if you think of his last 2 years with the Braves, he didn't play over 100 games either of those seasons. Then he gets to Milwaukee and
he's the guy.
He's the guy, and he's played, I think it's at least 150 games in the last 3 years. You talk about durability, and there was a stretch sometime last year in which Pat Murphy was willing to sit guys on longer weeks, and if they were just going, to 10 games in a row in 10 days and all that kind of stuff. And William Contreras came out and said, I want to play in a game that Murphy wanted to sit him. It's a guy that will give anything for his team. And that's the Brewers' way, which is similar to why they made that trade, or why they felt like they could make that trade to send Caleb Durbin to the Red Sox, get a guy like David Hamilton. I mean, Matt Arnold made it clear, the Brewers general manager, he plays the way that Caleb Durbin played, which is why we were fine giving up Durbin and getting Hamilton in return. So, yeah, William Contreras is just a Milwaukee Brewer, right?
Yeah.
He wants to play. He plays the game the right way. He plays with heart. He plays with the effort. And remember, he's the one that, right, didn't he put out that Players Tribune article going into the NLCS and we're going into the playoffs and be like, I haven't felt this type of way toward a team since the Braves won the World Series.
Yeah, and I think William Contreras is the type of guy you love if he's on your team, and you can hate him if he's not on your team. That's the type of passion and heart he plays with, which bodes well for Milwaukee. And that's why they love him so much, because every time he's on the baseball field, he's giving it his all. He's showboating. He's doing XYZ. Everything you love when it's on your team. Cam, what's your expectations or overall thoughts on this Brewers team? Now, obviously, spring training is just starting, right? Mm-hmm. People are getting there. First full workout hasn't even begun yet. But, I mean, this is a team that is coming off another playoff series win against the Cubs, one of the biggest in franchise history, but they did get swept in the Dodgers. And oh, yeah, by the way, the Dodgers then went in the offseason and added guys like Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, I think they needed to get this William Contreras deal done because of what that pitching staff has amounted to. Of course, you don't have Freddie Peralta anymore. There was a press conference with Brandon Woodruff. I wouldn't call it that. There was the reporters, the beat writers down there talking and taking iPhone video, but hey, it's good enough for us. And Woodruff said, he knew that it would take him a couple years since that injury, and that was even before the added injury from this last season, which made him miss the postseason. He said, I knew it would take about 2 years for me to feel healthy and to feel fully ready to go and to play a full season of baseball. Mm-hmm. And he told reporters that he feels that way. And by signing William Contreras and bringing him back, you already have the familiarity with Quinn Priester, with Jacob Mizorowski. Brandon Woodruff could pitch to anyone. He could pitch to one of us, and he would be. He doesn't need someone behind the plate to call, to call the pitches. But the fact that you have such a young core, Chad Patrick and guys like that, and William Contreras has the familiarity with them, that says a lot about what this Brewers team can be. I like the deal as much as when you first look at it on the surface, you're like, well, you got rid of your top 3 NL Rookie of the Year candidate, but you bring in more pitchers, and I think that'll bode well for the crew. This season is all based off, can the pitching stay healthy? Yeah. Because the bats are there, right? This Brewers team, they're smarter than everyone. Everyone seems to bat over 250, even though we don't know their names, but now we do, but it's all contingent on the pitching.
I think Chad Patrick's going to have a heck of a season. That's my guy. Backstory for anybody that has no idea. Chad Patrick was in the Northwoods League in 2019. Him and I became pretty good buddies throughout that summer. He was an excellent pitcher for the Traverse City Pit Spitters. He then was in on the championship team where he ends up winning a championship with Traverse City. And fun Chad Patrick story, after they win, we created like this friendship throughout the season because I was covering the Northwoods League as a whole, and I would ask him questions, and he was fantastic to me. We get to Traverse City for the championship series. It's a best of 3, and he ends up winning. And he's like, "Dude, what are you doing later?" I was like, going back to the hotel before we have to, drive back to Rochester, Minnesota. And he's like, dude, come out with the guys. So I went to the casino. We shut her down. We shut her down, man. We had a good night at the casino, me and Chad Patrick, but really cool to see him get his opportunity. Dude had to grind from, I think he played JUCO ball, made his way through, was traded a few times in the minor leagues, and then he's pitching on the biggest stage, a winner takes all Game 5 NLDS against the Cubs, and shuts the door down. I think Chad Patrick this season is going to have a heck of a season for your Milwaukee Brewers. For the Brewers, I think this team is going to win 90 games. If not 90, upper echelon of 80. Does it win the division? I don't know. But at this point, should we question what the Brewers do?
No.
Right? Like they traded, let's go back a few years ago. You trade Josh Hader, nobody remembers that. Mm-hmm. You trade Devin Williams, nobody remembers that. You trade Freddie Peralta in 6 months, nobody's going to remember that. Now, the Caleb Durbin one really surprised me at the time. Very much so surprised me. And for me, I think that might be one they regret. But if they get, like, the Brewers have such a good pitching lab that the pitchers they got back in that return are just going to excel. And then obviously when you traded Freddie Peralta, you got Jet Williams, who's going to be your third baseman. The Brewers commit to him at third base for the long haul. And that's why you have so many young guys like the Brewers do, because you can make guys expandable.
So I had a friend, I still have
glad he's still here.
He's still my friend. Okay. His name's Jack Gordon. He calls games for the Syracuse Mets, the AAA team in upstate New York, obviously for the New York Mets. And I asked him about the deal that sent the Freddie going to the Mets.
Correct.
And then obviously the Brewers getting back
Jet Williams
and just a whole
Brandon
lot of
Sproat.
Right, like prospects that will make this Mets team better in the long run. But of course, the Mets are in win now mode, and ever since they got a billionaire owner, they've been in win now mode. And I told him, I said, sorry, the Brewers took so many of your prospects, but it should be a fun year anyway, because he calls games for the AAA team, and you'd assume that Sproat and Williams might have started their seasons in Syracuse and then made their way to the big leagues. And he goes, excited to see Freddie, but man, do I get scared trading with the Brewers because they're legit smarter than almost everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's the case is you look at guys like Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat, and you're like, yeah, but we have a chance to not just get Freddie Peralta, but keep him for the long run. And he was an ace, and he's been an ace for the last couple of years. But just like Jack said, and I think by covering the team, the two of us realize it, how in the world do the Brewers trade Devin Williams, get a random guy in Caleb Durbin, and then he becomes your everyday third baseman? So they just have a way, and they have to work under a certain budgeted amount because they are the smallest market in all of baseball.
Yeah.
But the way they wiggle and the way they work, and just looking at their, I mean, we see the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, right? Just the way they work within the constraints that they have, and the guys they bring in, the guys they draft, and Matt Arnold mentioned it, Cooper Pratt, Jesus Made. Like, there are guys that are coming up that are going to make this team great. And geez, it just shocks me every time when another guy just does what he does.
I feel for Brewers fans because it's like if Mark Antanasio, if the owner of the team just spent money on a free agent, couldn't that just change the trajectory of where this franchise is? Like, if you just, I'm not saying one player in baseball is going to win you a World Series, but if you just went and splurged and committed the money to one of these top end free agents, look, baseball doesn't have a salary cap and it doesn't have a floor. I want to say this right. I think Mark Antanasio, if he wanted to go get somebody in the free agent market, he could.
But this is my thing, is we've seen consistent success enough.
Yes,
that's why he won't. That's in my opinion why he won't.
100%.
Now that's 100%. Why. Now that's why he should, because he should want to get over the hump. But the fact is, with how successful they've been, the Brewers just need 3 or 4 really awful seasons for Mark Attanasio to just sit there and say, oh, we might actually need to make some moves, but they've never needed to, because look at the success that they've sustained.
Look, the baseball operations, whether it was David Stearns or now Matt Arnold at the top of the franchise, they're really smart. They can work within the restraints, like you said, and still put together a really competitive roster that's going to win an NL Central crown. But I know, that's why David Stearns went to the Mets, right?
Yeah.
So that he could go out and get a free agent and try to get a World Series ring. But
maybe Matt Arnold now is, because he's not just the GM, now he's the president of baseball operations, right? Maybe he can convince, like, that was a way of internally hiring, or maybe it's just Mark Antanasio puppeteering, and,
So before we go to break, just so many good players, darn I say great, have left Milwaukee a year early because the front office knows that they won't be able to sign off on that big contract. Yeah. That was evident even 15 years ago when Prince Fielder walked out of the building because they couldn't sign him to a big contract. So exciting time though. Brewers season is almost here. They're going to be stellar once again. The Cubs look like a real dog this year, getting Alex Bregman. I mean, the Cardinals are what they are. The Reds are what they are. The Pirates are what they are. The Cubs and Brewers are going to be the top favorites in that NL Central. It's going to be fun. All right, let's take a break here on WFRV Plus Sports Night. Great conversation, Cam. Let's keep it up on the other side, my man. You're watching WFRV Plus Sports Night. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back into WFRV Plus Sports Night. Kyle Malzahn, joined by the one, the only Cameron Uzair. Really nice to see the sun out, man.
I know.
Today.
Gosh.
I was able to wake up, take my dog for a walk, Honey May.
Love Honey
May.
May.
Little pug Shih Tzu Chihuahua.
She's
if you can picture that, cutest little dog ever. Wants to play ball 24/7. It was nice to get some fresh air, sunshine, not negative 40, which is nice.
I know,
like 40 degrees out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just having our meteorologist Luke Sampe on the air go, yeah, we got 30s and then highs of 40s. I'm used to hearing highs of negative. I know. That's
gonna be
crazy.
Awesome.
Also, I just want to shout out, because we've worked together for
what are we gonna shout out?
2.5 years now.
All right.
During the break, you go, hey, Cam, and you look directly at me and you go, we're going to talk Green Bay women's basketball. And right before you said that, I was thinking about what we were going to talk about after we just chatted about the Brewers. And I was like, oh, let's talk about the GB women in that game against Cleveland State the other night. So it's just the telepathy there is just incredible.
My man. The peanut to my butter.
Oh, I like that.
The jam to my jelly.
Oh, okay. Come on.
The tick to my tap toe.
What? The new to my Tella, you know?
The step to my brother.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk Green Bay women's basketball. Yeah. Tough loss last night, 83-82 in overtime against Cleveland State. Green Bay's first loss in the conference this year, and first loss in the conference dating all the way back to December of 2024. And look, all good things have to come to an end at some point. This team would be hard pressed. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they went undefeated in a conference, but sometimes you have to go through adversity. And this 3-game road trip that the Green Bay women went on, adversity up the wazoo, man. I mean, 2-game winners essentially for the Green Bay women, had 2 really good looks at it last night, but ultimately the cookie crumbles the other way.
Yeah, and I was talking to Carson Fowler a little bit about this, and
that's good.
I know that's usually never a good sign. And he told me, he's been telling me, he said they need to lose at some point, because if you're going to lose one in a 1-bid league,
right,
you should lose before the conference tournament, because if you lose in the conference tournament, your season's over, right?
Correct.
So at the very, well, you can go to WNIT and all that, but at the very least, obviously, you never want to lose, but if you're going to lose a game, it's away from home. They're still undefeated at the Crest Center.
Correct.
They still have a lot of momentum going into the conference tournament because they beat everyone the first time. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're losing anyone twice where you enter the conference tournament and you're concerned about facing that team again. Remember, Cleveland State is not no slouch, or is not a slouch. Like this team is one of the best in the Horizon League behind GB. You lost away from home. You only lost by a point in which you had multiple chances to win that game. I think a big positive is watching Christina Wilmette do what she did.
Yes.
Having it,
6 threes, I think.
Was it like it was an 18, a team high? Like,
yeah.
Watching her do that, this is all GB needs to do entering the conference tournament.
What's that?
Is find trust in others that aren't Maddie Skrupski, that aren't Jenna Geyer, Megan Schultz, because what they had at the beginning of the season with how Gracie Grush was playing and how they got Carly Duffney involved.
Yep.
And as the season has progressed, the way they've played is so much inside out with Skorupski and then Geyer or Schultz, that teams are going to start to figure you out. And once you start hitting shots, like the Green Bay women, with how good defensively they are, should not be allowing 83 points. But sometimes it happens. And in a 1-bid league, you need to find others that can step up. And watching Wilmette do that, I think that's a positive sign.
Maddie Skorupski last night, 25 points. Obviously, the newcomer to this team after playing at Oakland last year. That sounds about right. But yeah, man, I mean, look, the Green Bay women will be in the thick of it all. Will they win the conference? They're already the number 1 seed in the Horizon League tournament. Will they win it all? And if they don't, I think it would be a failed season, but I think that they'll get the job done nonetheless. Because, look, Kayla Karius, stellar coach. The GB women's program has that knack of winning, and when you have that identity that you're going to win, it bleeds into the players in the program. And it's not like they got blown out last night, right? It's not the end of the world. Lost 1 game. It's going to be all right.
I don't want to cut you off, but everyone please go to wearegreenbay.com and read Kyle's article on the GB women. Fun. Great article, and I think it really displays how much the program means to Kayla Karius.
Yes.
And why when they win and why when they lose, it means more to her.
And to your point earlier, Cam, I think this could be a good thing for Green Bay, right? I mean, because this road trip, they got exposed. And when you're winning masks a lot of problems. And I'm not saying there was problems with this Green Bay women's team, right? But there was a lot of times earlier in the season, Kayla Karius would be adamant at the podium that they didn't play their best ball, even though they won by 20 points, because they let teams get back into it. Okay, you lost. It's time to dive deeper. Because when you're winning, everything's, yippee yay yay. You see all the press releases and you see the tweets, and Green Bay's doing it again. You hit 2 buzzer beaters. But in reality, in those buzzer beaters, you're not blowing teams out. You're not putting the game away. You're hitting the game-winning shot, which is great. But when you lose, I think this will turn the light switch on a little bit for these players to go that extra mile.
And remember, GB can't just play at home the rest of the way. Not only if they make the NCAA tournament, will they have to play on the road because they'll be a 12 or a 13 seed as we've seen the last couple of years, but they will have to go to Indianapolis to play those final rounds in the Horizon League tournament.
Yes,
so
good point.
It's great to have success at the Crest Center, but the fact is, you're right. These last 3 road games, they've been exposed in a lot of ways, and it might be fatigue. Think about it. When we were in that press conference with them the other day talking about the success, and they were like, oh, we can't really celebrate it because we got games in this. Right when they left, they said, okay, we're going to hop on a plane in a couple hours, after they were just on they were just on a couple other trips, and then they had to come back home and then go back on a plane ride to another trip. Like,
they're a little gassed.
They're a little gassed, and that's no excuse. But the fact is, if they do win in the Horizon League in the tournament, they're going to have to go to Indianapolis. They can't play in front of the raucous home crowd. And again, losses are never good, but learning is good. Correct. And at least this team has time. I mean, I think back to that regular season finale last year against Purdue Fort Wayne.
Yeah, that was fun.
Almost lost that game, and it actually helped them because when they went to the championship game, when it was neck and neck, then they blew them out of the water in that second half because they had the experience of coming back and winning it in overtime to win the Horizon League regular season title last year.
Yeah, fun stuff. GB basketball. It's fun when both teams are good. It's a really fun time when both teams are good.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break here, wrap things up on the other side. You're watching WFRV Plus Sports Night with Cameron Desire and, of course, Kyle Malzahn. Welcome back into WFRV Plus Sports Night. Kyle Malzahn, Cameron Desire coming at you live from the WFRV Plus studios. Look, the Bucks, they grinded one out last night against the Orlando Magic, and there was some magic with the newcomers, Cam Thomas and Usman.
Close. Usman Jang.
All right, sorry.
It's
The
tough.
newcomers on this team, I'm not acclimated yet. It'll come with time. It's like back in 2013 when people were like, Giannis it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, after 15 years, I got it.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
Usman
Jang.
Jang.
Yeah.
Usman Jang.
Yeah, Usman Jang.
What do you have, 34?
I think Jang had 17. Thomas had 34.
Oh, yeah, Cam Thomas.
But
of
either
course.
way, I mean, when Cam Thomas signed with the Bucks, and it was a bit of a shocker to why Brooklyn would release a guy or waive a guy that has been averaging 21 points per game over the last 3 seasons. And when he came back from the injury in which he missed the first 20 games of this year, he'd averaged 16. After 5 years, he made it clear that I don't think that he wanted to be on that team anymore, which they are in a perpetual rebuild ever since getting rid of James Harden and Kevin Durant. And he's fit in well with this team. I know it's only 2 games in, but the fact that he got a little playing time in that first game after only being with the team for a day or two. And after the game, he told the media just how lucky he is to have gained the trust of Doc Rivers, that he wouldn't just play him as much as he did in that second game, but also keep him in the game to finish it out.
Yeah.
And 34 points. He was so
Off the
impressive.
bench.
Off the bench, and a lot of it was one-on-one. And the fact is, when he gets more acclimated with this team, oh gosh, he's going to be dangerous when teammates are finding him, and now you got to double him and really give him an extra look. And same with Usman Jang. I had to give myself a second there.
Yes.
Usman Jang, as well as just finding and creating his own shot. Maybe that gives Giannis a little confidence when he comes back. If he does, that maybe I should stick along.
Well, wasn't it really cool on the broadcast, if you were watching the game, to see how interactive Giannis was on the bench? Because you hear all these national reports, and it can just be kind of like piling on. But it looked like Giannis was pretty darn happy on the bench last night, watching his teammate Cam Thomas. And of course, there's this viral video around the internet right now where Cam Thomas hits this long 3-pointer at the logo, darn near, with like 30 seconds left to put a stamp on it. And Giannis is in the back just like licking his chops and stuff, like, okay, this is what I'm working with. Let me just go do my rehab a little faster, get back, play with this guy, and maybe make a postseason run. I don't know, but I mean, look, thankfully for Bucks fans, Giannis is still on the team. No idea what happens, but like you and I, Cam, mentioned the other day, the Bucks aren't in like a terrible position right now.
No.
They're not in a terrible position because there's a few ways this season and the months after the season can go. One, you just tank the rest of the way. You suck, right? You suck and you get a lottery draft pick. And then Giannis comes back and now you have Giannis next year and a lotto pick, which is pretty good. Or Giannis comes back. Cam Thomas is a dude. Jang, dude, you're balling. You make a postseason run. And now it kind of rewires the thinking a little bit for Giannis when he returns. And if he returns to the Bucks. So as bad as this season is and could be, it's almost like the Indiana Pacers, right? They were in the NBA Finals last year. One win away and an Achilles injury away from probably hoisting the trophy. They suck this year. The Indiana Pacers suck this year. But next year, they're going to be really good.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have a lotto pick. And, oh, yeah, by the way, Oshkosh North Halliburton is going to be back.
Yeah, and don't forget that with how the lottery works in the NBA, the Pacers, with how bad they are, they might get the 13th pick, which technically is still in the lottery, but it actually works in the Bucks' favor.
That's a good point.
But it actually works in the Bucks' favor because look what Dallas did this past year. They had, the 14th best odds and still got the number 1 pick.
Which is so rigged.
I agree, but the Bucks...
It's there.
The Bucks, with how the system is, it is actually reality that the Bucks could get that AJ kid from BYU, and all of a sudden, as you said, now you team him up with Giannis, and if you sign Cam Thomas long term, and Ryan Rollins is the most improved player, and if Jang wants to stay, and remember he's an NBA champion with the Oklahoma City Thunder, like there are pieces on this team. I loved when Doc Rivers went into the locker room post game and was like, "Hey, Cam Thomas, what do you get?" And he goes, "I get buckets." Like, that's the type of energy you want from this team.
It's like Giannis after they won the championship and he had a 50 burger and he goes to Chick-fil-A and he's like, "I want 50 nuggets. I want 50 nuggets. Only 50, not 49, not 51. I want 50 nuggets."
That's the mentality, right?
That was great, Cam. Great conversation, my man. Appreciate you as always. And thank you guys so much for watching another edition of WFRV Plus Sports Night as we two buffoons talk a little sports with y'all. All right. Thanks so much. Have a good night, y'all.